All right, let's see what Joe Marsh said. Thank you to all the fans for your unwavering support of T1, especially after a victory at Worlds, which is actually, if you think about it, completely insane that T1 is now in the spotlight for some pretty big drama. This is like the hottest offseason drama that we've had in a while. And it's right after they won Worlds. Pretty much the most triumphant and successful moment you can have as an esports org, winning Worlds. And now they're like fucking talking about this. They're furious. Fucking headquarters up in flames. Talking about suing these guys. Your enthusiasm and generosity, particularly through your purchase of our World's merchandise, have been deeply appreciated and have played a vital role in helping us retain a majority of this roster as we prepare for the upcoming season. To provide some context regarding the timing of this AMA, on October 2nd, Sensitive Privacy reached out with the opportunity to host an AMA. At that time, I declined because our primary focus was on Worlds, but I committed to revisiting the idea once Stove League concluded. What is Stove League? I'm glad we now have the chance to connect with you all. This AMA will also serve as the final time we address Zeus' departure from T1. Okay. Zeus was an integral part of our journey alongside owner, Faker, Gumusi, and Keria, helping restore T1 to its former glory. We are forever grateful for his contributions to the organization. Zeus made a decision he felt was best for him, and we fully respect his choice. Wish him nothing but success in his future endeavors. Thank you again for all the thoughtful questions you submitted and for your continued support of T1. Let's keep pushing forward together, fighting. Damn it. My Corky got banned. Is it true that T1 couldn't agree to terms with Zeus to meet his demands of 2 billion Korean won, as Han Yi mentioned? This is not true. We were never given the opportunity to match any offer. Additionally, the agent did not present any counteroffers to the proposals that we had sent. You'd have to ask Zeus, or better yet, try his... Okay, the question is, can you show how much Zeus is getting paid by signaling with your fingers? You'd have to ask Zeus, or better yet, try his agent, if you can actually get him on the table. Snarky, but I like it. How much was Zeus' offer from T1? It would not be appropriate for me to disclose the specific details of Zeus' offer from T1. What I can share is that we aim to give each of our players the top salary in their respective position. With this goal as our foundation, we negotiated with all the players' agents, including Zeus'. Throughout the process, however, Zeus' agent did not provide us with a single counter proposal. When he, the agent, visited our office on Friday, he openly stated he had nothing to say, which struck us as unusual for someone whose role is to negotiate contracts. After signing the 3 players, we even submitted an additional proposal. Despite knowing that rule number 1 of negotiations is not to keep presenting offers without a response. Yet again, there was no counterproposal or clear communication from the agent. Nonetheless, in keeping with the aforementioned aim, we were willing to match any offer for Zeus. If the agent had communicated his client's specific desires from the beginning, this process could have been much smoother. Okay. Okay. So this does not seem to have anything to do with money from T1 side. I wonder how the agent had presented that stuff to Zeus. I do think that the community is going to run away with this story as the story of how Zeus got manipulated by his agent to join another team when it was, you know, the love that was meant to be was for him to stay on T1. But I think what's more realistic is that Zeus wanted to leave. And the negotiations were handled so badly that T1 feels like they had a better chance of retaining him if the agent didn't fuck them over, like from their perspective. But I think... Heal. Hold on one sec. I have my champ select is going on. I think it's way more realistic that Zeus didn't want to stay on the team. And it's just a bit uncomfortable to, I guess, accept that reality. I think like the community is really likely to look at these stories and look at these rumors or like statements. They're not just rumors anymore, they're like actual statements. And they're gonna think, this poor kid, he didn't know what was going on and he ended up just kind of getting manipulated to sign this contract with HLE. And I'm not really sure if that's real. Okay, so this part basically just says T1 was willing to match any offer. They wanted to give him the best possible offer, and there was no counter proposal. The agent was like dodging them, ducking them. How much was the difference in the offer amounts between T1 and HLE for Zeus? Again, in keeping with our aim of giving each of our players the top salary in his position, we were fully prepared to match any offer Zeus received. But unfortunately, we were not given the opportunity to do so by his agent. The agent imposed an artificial deadline, claiming it was set by HLE. However, after Zeus made his decision to leave, we spoke with HLE and they confirmed that no such deadline was ever established. In my opinion, someone is not being truthful in this situation. Having worked with HLE for many years, I trust their word regarding what was said. It's disheartening that such tactics played a role in the process, so as we believed Zeus deserved transparency and fairness in making such an important decision about his future. Yeah. That's pretty fucked. That's a shady agent tactic. Another shady agent tactic that happens is just the simple making up of an offer. It's just like, yeah, no, this team's interested. They offered 700K. Can you match? And it's like, they just pulled that out of their ass. There's no actual offer on the table. Maybe it was like somewhat discussed in a meeting and it was like thrown out as like a number by the agent. And then they're like, yeah, we talked about it. We got an offer for 700. And they're like, okay, are you going to match or not? A lot of stuff happens with these in general in off seasons. Obviously, each region will have its own kind of like meta with negotiation. I'm most curious about the exact details and process of Zeus' departure. When was the decision made? I'd also like to know how the other players reacted and what the atmosphere within the team is like. From our standpoint, Zeus made his decision on the first day of free agency period. Throughout the time leading up to that day, we had to get the impression that we were getting closer to an agreement until the mood suddenly changed around noon that day. As for how the other players reacted and the atmosphere within the team, we believe those conversations should remain private out of respect for everyone involved. Very mature, very professional, very demure. How does it feel to let go of a true homegrown talent? In this case, true homegrown talent refers to Zeus, who rose from T1's youth team to the main roster. I wouldn't categorize Zeus' departure as T1 letting him go. We wanted Zeus to remain with T1 for many years to come and made every effort to make that happen. However, as is every player's right, he ultimately chose to leave. Naturally, we were all deeply disappointed by his decision. We believe that the environment we built at T1, the resources we provided, and the way we treat our players make this the best place in the world for a League of Legends player to thrive. While it's sad to see him go, we respect his choice and wish him the best in the next chapter of his career. Okay, so I'm just going to say there's no way in any universe that Zeus is going to have the same level of success on any team that he joins. Outside of winning worlds, it is impossible for him to not have a downward trend this year. It's impossible. He literally second place at Worlds to DRX, won Worlds against Weibo Gaming in a 3-0 stomp and Giga stomped the Cheyenne lane, and then just won in a ridiculous fashion 3-2 against BLG again. He's 2 for 3 in World Championships in 3 years, and one time he was a runner-up by 1 game in a BO5. It literally, it can't get any better. His career can't get any better than it already has been, so it's only going to go downhill from here. That's what I think. So it is kind of crazy that he would leave, but I think I don't know. Like, I'm just curious what's going to happen in the future. I do think that he, from a purely results-based standpoint, made a bad decision. But maybe for a happiness standpoint, he wasn't that happy on T1 and he wants to try something new. And in that case, that's totally a valid reason to leave. I'm curious about the behind-the-scenes stories from the offseason involving Zeus and Doran. The stories around Zeus's departure is covered by the other answers. As for Doran, when we interviewed him, he said he had always admired T1 and that his favored style of playing aggressively can be better suited on T1. Okay, guys, I'm not going to lie. I think they just snagged the best free agent available when they got blindsided by this Zeus thing. I don't think T1 is stoked to have Doran. I think everyone just kind of clenched their jaw and decided, okay, we have Doran now. Let's make the best of, let's make the best out of a bad situation. But, it's kind of awkward, basically. On another note, we've always thought highly of Doran because of the sheer amount of practice he put in. When analyzing our opponents, he always stood out as the one who practiced the most. Hey, that is a great sign. That is a good sign. What do you think the biggest factor was in losing Zeus? The biggest factor in losing Zeus, in my opinion, in my view, was the influence of his agent and their agency. This particular group has a history of prioritizing financial gain over a broader perspective of what's truly best for the player. I just completely side note here, guys. And this is a completely, this might be an ignorant American take, but from everything I've understood about Korean management, from the predatory K-pop contracts to just the most fucked contracts that I've heard about in just I guess esports or gaming, I do think there is probably some level of low standard for the agencies, for the management. I mean, how many times have you heard about K-pop idols having the most fucked requirements? The managers are sexually harassing them, they're pressuring them, the idols are completely replaceable, and they're controlling every aspect of their relationship, diet, exercise, schedule, and working them to the bone while also underfeeding them and underpaying them and taking up all the rewards for their work. So basically what I'm saying is, I guess I'm not that surprised if this rumor is true, that this group has a history of prioritizing financial gain over prioritizing what's best for the player. I'm not that surprised. There's already a stereotype with agents being slimy, and I think Korea has an extra level of sliminess. Korean managers are basically capitalists that see their clients as a product. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel as well. And I'm sure that there are good ones, right? There are definitely good ones that don't do that. But it happens enough to get reported on. Their approach often overlooks key factors like team legacy, player development, and long-term career success. Oh, dude. In no universe is Zeus going to have better long-term career success anywhere else but T1. T1's the most popular team in the world. It was better for him from a branding perspective to stay with T1 and to be a part of the most popular roster in the world. He was not going to take a financial hit. He was going to, continue to be one of the most popular players in the world, where on HLE, he might fade away. And in terms of the brand deals and just what he would have access to by being on T1. 2-time world champion back-to-back. First time ever on the most popular roster in the world. I mean, guys, the long-term career success could not be better for him if he stayed on T1. I don't think that it would be better on HLE, even if they offered him $1 million more per year contract. But they didn't. But anyways, I'm glazing T1 extremely hard, but I do think they are spot on here with that assessment. Unfortunately, the tactics and gamesmanship used in this situation were not consistent with how professional agents typically operate. While the agent has since called to apologize, I believe that gesture was more about saving face than genuine sincerity. Actions speak louder than words. And, oh my god, they fucking first pick Caitlyn. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna try Jen one last time, and if it doesn't work, I'm gonna fucking end it. and their behavior in this matter revealed their true character. It's worth noting that T1 provided an environment where Zeus thrived, contributing to back-to-back world championships. We have all met the criteria for a player of his caliber, both in terms of competitive success and career growth. This is the same agency that attempted to move Zeus to China last year for a higher payday, and it was only through Zeus' own initiative reaching out to Coma that he ultimately stayed with T1. This pattern of prioritizing financial incentives over what's best for the player's overall future is concerning. While we respect Zeus' decision, it's unfortunate that the influence of an agency played such a significant role in this outcome. Uh-oh. That's not good, guys. How do you feel about the breakup? Okay, I'm getting kind of tired of the... anything interesting? This is just going to be repeating the same shit. Is there a significant difference in the size of the deal offered? They already answered that question. Are these guys not listening to the previous questions? Did T1 actually sit down at the negotiation table with Zeus? Was it that you couldn't retain him or you chose not to? You had time to release exclusive articles but didn't secure Zeus? What does this even mean? What? We submitted multiple proposals during the process, but we never received a counter proposal from Zeus' agent. On Tuesday, we were told that both the agent and Zeus would come to T1 HQ to finalize the deal. Okay. Tell me more. However, the agent never showed up and instead closed the deal elsewhere without ever sitting down at the table to negotiate with us directly. As for the article, it was published after Zeus had already made his decision. We knew how much the T1 fandom cherished Zeus and ZOFKGK, whatever, roster, and we felt it was important to communicate the truth to our fans. Allowing Josh to speak to the reporter was a deliberate choice to prevent misinformation or internet rumors from spreading, which could have hurt Zeus and his family. Our intention was to always provide clarity and transparency for the fans. Damn, this is a long... Oh my god. Oh my god. Sorry that happened, or happy for you. Oh, it's from random people. I thought it was an AMA with journalists for some reason.